What's up, everybody? It's your boy TGK. Today, I wanted to go over a slew of things in regards to MVP voting, the straw polls with Tim Bontemps, and just the overall narrative and control that ESPN has over an NBA MVP vote. MVP. Did I say N or M? MVP vote. So I'm going to show you a couple of things here. Let y'all listen to it. I might live react to some of it because some of it's going to be the first time I watch it. And then I'll just have my overall take at the end. So appreciate y'all watching, man. Enough of the fluff. Let's get to the stuff. And if you're a first time watcher here, man, if y'all don't mind hitting that like button and subscribing, same thing for everyone that's been watching. If y'all don't mind liking and subscribing, this should be some good stuff here, man. So appreciate y'all. And let's get it started. Okay. So this is from today. This was just dropped. The first MVP straw poll has just came out, and they got it titled as "Can Anyone Stop Jokic?" So, if you don't know, Mr. Tim Bontemps. hold on. Let me fix this right here. Mr. Tim Bontemps has just the ultimate control over the MVP vote and who becomes MVP for some reason. He's able to have these straw polls where he gets some of his colleagues to share their thoughts and opinions on who they think is the MVP. So they do this vote, and from that vote and that perspective that they get, us as fans, we're able to understand what they're going to go after or who's going to be the MVP, because so much power is on this man's shoulders. The MVP is decided by him and his colleagues, and that's how it goes. They influence the vote, and then all the talking heads and talking points go through what this man has decided. So on this here right here, for the straw poll, let me show y'all the straw poll. This is a straw poll, ladies and gentlemen. So before we get started, Nikola Jokic is 1, Shai Gilgeous is 2, Giannis 3rd, Jason Tatum 4th, Luka 4th, and so on and so forth. I find this quite insane that you would actually put Nikola Jokic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander over Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis, out of those three players, is doing far more with far less, is winning a little bit more than one of them, and has just won an NBA Cup. And I think Giannis plays on both sides of the court. Oh, why is Mike doing this? Plays on both sides of the court. He's a better defender than all two of them, and just a good offensive player. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I honestly, right now, I think the straw poll should be Giannis as the front runner, and I think Luka should be a little bit higher. I think Jokic should be further down due to his record. Also, he just lost to the Portland Trailblazers because he didn't want to defend the rim and stop Anthony Simons from hitting the game-winning layup. And Shai Gilgeous maybe should. I think Shai Gilgeous is right where he should be, actually. I think Shai Gilgeous should be right where he's at number 2. This Jokic love affair is kind of insane. So there's that. This straw poll is from Tim Bontemps and all of his colleagues, which all of his colleagues end up having a vote. So you already know where they're leaning. All right. Now they're on this video. I forwarded to the part where they talk about Luka Doncic. I have not heard it. So let's go ahead and all hear it for the first time.
Okay. Top 5.
So 5th place, the guy that Ban McMahon is very familiar with. I was trying to see how many games the Suns have played. So Kevin has played 15 games, and the Suns have played 25. So he's already missed 10 games.
13 and 2 with him in the lineup.
They've already missed 10.
Yeah.
So that's going to be difficult for
I
him.
agree, but you have to miss 17, or was it 18? You can miss 17.
You have to. You are ineligible if you miss 18. So 5th place, Luka Doncic. 123 total points, 1 third-place vote, 26 fourth-place votes, 40 fifth-place votes, most fifth-place votes by a decent amount, 67 ballots, 67 out of 100.
Now, this is the guy who, at the start of the year, we thought this was going to be his year.
He came in as the MVP favorite.
I would call him a co-favorite.
Okay.
It's funny. It's funny. The video I'm about to show y'all about to see, but it's just funny. It's all funny to me. Like, Luka's been the favorite every single season, and not once has he's won the MVP. And last year was without a doubt, there was no reason to not give him the MVP last year, and they still found a way to not give it to him.
Okay.
He came in
because they were basically neck
Sure.
and neck last year.
okay. He came in expected to have a great chance to win his first MVP. He got off to, by his standards, a slow start. And it's not just the counting stats, which are still elite, but the efficiency was way down. I mean, he
Plus, the Mavericks weren't exactly slaying.
yeah, they got off to a 5-8 start. It was not a good start of the season for Luka. He has been much better since he was shut down with the wrist and was able to work on his conditioning. He has played at an MVP level since then, with the exception of the knockout round loss to the Thunder when Lou Dort and double teams, and it was just a tough night. But then he bounces back from that and had the best game
in Golden State,
maybe of the season by anybody so far. When you're talking about a 45-point triple-double where he's also, I forgot what the defensive numbers were, but, racking up steals and getting blocks, 45, 11, 13.
I'm actually surprised Tim McMahon gave Luka some praise here. I'm actually quite shocked. But again, because of that 5-8 start, just so y'all know, the way you start the season, that is how you are judged the rest of the season. Because of that 5-8 start, it's over for Luka. Luka does not have a chance to win this MVP anymore. They will remember the 5-8 start. He was shut down for conditioning, right? Because Tim is doing that. That's it. That's it. If you haven't learned, if you don't know, this is how it goes. And if you don't know, now you know, ESPN. So yeah, man, let's get back to listening to this.
If that is a sign of things to come, in my mind right now, there are 3 real candidates, 3 guys that you're choosing between as the number one guy. If what Luka's done since coming back is going to continue, he's going to make this a 4-horse race. Now
he's absolutely still a strong contender to win the award.
Yeah, not based on what he's done not based on what he's done. So he was not a candidate to be number one on ballots right now. But there is 2/3 of the season left to play now.
So right now, by the way, he is in the odds. He was right. Was he number one in ESPN bet to start the year? I don't know. But as of right now, as we're recording this, he's plus 700, which is 4th.
Yeah, and look, he's sitting out. This is Thursday morning. We're recording this. He's going to miss tonight's game against the Clippers with a heel contusion. Hopefully that's just a 1-game thing. We'll see about that. It is the 7th game that he's missed this season. Obviously, we'll track that. To see if the 65-game minimum becomes something that's in jeopardy at some point.
Why did you not like the fee?
I think that for Luka to win, right? Because he had the slow start. I think
told you because he had the slow start. Only 13 games. Those 13 games right there, because of the slow start, that's it. This is what you're held to the rest of the year. I can only imagine the amount of bullshit Tim Bontemps is about to give right now. Here we go.
I mean, we're going to get to it later, but I think for him to catch the guys in front of him, he's going to have to put up truly bonkers numbers.
Which he could.
Which he does.
So when you put the bonker numbers up last year, that wasn't good enough for you? Jokic didn't put up bonker numbers. He just put up bonker efficiency, and he had a better record by 7 games. I don't think it's how you start, it's how you finish. And the Dallas Mavericks found a way to finish quite well. This is just funny to me, bro. It's funny to me. This is funny to me. He's got to put a bonker number. So when he put up bonker numbers last year, it wasn't good enough. So now you got to put up bonker numbers this year to still not get the MVP and for them to still find a way to not give it to you.
But here's the thing. I think let's talk about it after we get to the top.
I will say this.
So I think it's better to talk about holistic.
I'm not making any gambling advice here. I'm just going to say that I believe and McMahon believes that Luka can still win the MVP.
I think that's a bad bet.
And he's plus 700 now. He was plus like a 150 before.
I think that's a bad bet. Listen to what Tim Bontemps is saying, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's a bad bet. It goes without a doubt that he does not like Luka Doncic for whatever reason it is. He doesn't favor Luka Doncic. He doesn't favor maybe the way myself and other Mavs fans talk about Tim Bontemps, but it is clearly a thing with him and his influence over his colleagues, because if y'all don't think he might have some kind of impact on that vote, I don't know what to tell you. He's probably telling people, hey man, if you want to put a good vote, because there's people that have a vote that don't watch basketball, right? Like Perkins, Stephen A. Smith, who are the other people that have NBA votes? I will look them up, but there's other people that have, like Bill Simmons. Y'all think Bill Simmons is watching anything outside of the Celtics? Come on now. I think the only person that I feel has a really good feel for MVP is what's his name? What is his name? Hold on. Chris Broussard. Chris Broussard, I think, has one of the better perspectives on the MVP. So let's continue. Oh, wow.
I think this will be a 4-horse race, and I think he will be in the race.
I don't.
One reason is this, and the fact that the Mavericks went 5-1 without him obviously doesn't, tell you anything about his value. But what it does is it makes it very realistic that the Mavericks are going to have a damn good record at the end of the season.
I agree.
And that's
I think I love this poll coming now, because this is right at the beginning of the conversation, especially after the NBA Cup. And I know you've got the history, and I'm not fighting with the history. I believe in this poll. I don't think anything on this list is assured.
It's not a commentary on Luka. It's more a commentary on the other people involved. But I think it's better to talk about holistically at the end.
All right.
But for now, I'll disagree.
Fourth place
with
Jason Tatum is fourth place. But let's get the first place. I would take time listening to the Giannis one, but let's see what they say about Jokic.
57 first place votes, 23 second place votes, 18 third place votes, 2 fourth place votes, 100 ballots. Nikola Jokic, 827 points. He has been in first place in the straw poll in 3 consecutive ballots going back to last year, and he's been in the top 2 in the last 7.
Listen, I'm not going to sit here and make a case for why Joker shouldn't be MVP.
Who did you vote for?
I voted Giannis, and I was a flipper.
Well, just to read off their numbers.
I'm actually, all right, Tim McMahon, y'all give you credit for that. The fact that you voted Giannis as your number 1, that tells me you know ball. The fact that I'm saying Giannis should be number 1 right now, it lets you know. Maybe I'm wrong, because I'm not going to say Luka's first. Not right now. I would say Luka's, because of his record and because of because of the slow start and the fact that you were able to not only turn it around and be a part of that turnaround, and now you were a top 3 seed, 2 seed for a decent amount of time. I think Luka's top probably 3 right now, and Shea probably second, because winning matters. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, winning matters. Luka's third to me right now. Shea second, Giannis first, and then you can put Jokic at 5, have Jason Tatum at 4, because winning matters. Last year we were told that winning matters last year. That is the reason why Luka's bonkers numbers gave him no shot at winning MVP. So I'm just holding the voters and what we decided what was the criteria last year to be just that. Winning matters. Let's continue. Let's see what they say.
Because I do think it matters here. So Shea, 30.3 points per game, 3rd in the league, 5.5 rebounds, 6.3 assists, 1.9 steals, 1 block. He's one of 4 players ever at this point to average at least 1 steal, 1 block, and those other numbers. The other guys are Giannis, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron. Pretty good category. While shooting 51% from the field.
Efficiently filling it up across the box score, and he's not the reason they're the number 1 defense, but he's a key part.
Right.
Of
the fact he's a good defensive player is a massive bonus as a ball dominant guard. And let's just remind everybody the numbers that Nikola Jokic is putting up as the number 1 guy on this list. 30.9 points, 2nd in the league. 13.3 rebounds. I believe that's 1st in the league. Actually, it might be 2nd.
Cat's first.
Yeah, 2nd to Cat. Right. 9.9 assists, 2nd in the league. 2nd in all 3 categories. While shooting 55.8% from the field on 21 shots a game.
Look at his record.
And shooting 48.9% on threes.
does most shots per game by 3 in his career, obviously just because they need it. So he's shooting more than ever.
And by the way, he's averaging 1.8 steals a game.
And more efficient than ever.
What about his record?
The higher you shoot, the less efficient you are.
Yeah,
So,
now
he's just doing unprecedented offensive things.
and
all the way across the board.
it's added up to a 14-10 record, which is a half game better than the Bucks, since the Bucks didn't get credit for their NBA Cup Finals win. They are 5th in the West right now, but there's 3, 14, and 11 teams right behind them. What's the minimum finish in the standings that an MVP must have?
What year when Russ won it? What year were they?
I believe they were 6th. To me, like, you can't be a play-in team and the MVP,
especially when you've already won it 3 times.
right? Yes, and
I don't know. His stats are so bonkers.
they are.
They're bonkers.
And their team is so bad compared to where it's been
Oh,
that he is dragging it, like Giannis has been, dragging it along and doing all of this unprecedented stuff to just get them wins on a nightly basis, which means it's probably not going to stop.
right. And
so when the Mavericks were able to do that in 2022 because, KP was never available, Jalen Brunson wasn't Jalen Brunson, and Luka still finished 4th, we could never make that argument for him because Jokic finished 6th and he, did everything with probably just the baddest team, right? They changed his MVP criteria however they see fit to pick whoever they actually want.
like the on-off numbers, again, it's not an...
Now, I'm not hating on Jokic's numbers. I do think they are bonkers. I do think they actually are bonkers. Now, bias aside, for Jokic as a center to be giving you 30 points, 10 assists, and 13 rebounds, almost shooting 50% from 3. I believe it's over 3 or 4 shots a game. Those are bunker numbers. They really are. They are. And I think Jokic does deserve credit or does deserve votes to be MVP. But because of the criteria that was set last year, and because Luka put those similar type of numbers with even more points and, to be able to do what he did last year, missing Kyrie for 15 games and going on games without Lively and this and that, and still finding a way, I just wanted consistency. I wanted that winning matters. And when you got 2 teams that are above Jokic in the standings, 3 teams or whatever the case may be, Jokic, or 4 teams actually, Jokic should not be ahead of those because that is the criteria that was set last year. That's all I'm trying to say.
End all be all, but they are interesting. I would say
I'll pull up Jokic's because you're pulling up Shea's.
Yes,
because I looked this up yesterday in preparation for this.
Right, and so and then I'll look up Giannis. Shea, the Thunder have a net rating of plus 16.4 with him.
Very good.
Yeah, outstanding, and plus 1 without him. So we're talking about a 15 point and change difference.
That's a pretty good difference. So I've got Giannis here too. So Giannis Antetokounmpo, when he's on the court, the Bucks are only 2 points per 100 possessions better. And
that's because that first 10 games was so bad.
And they're also they're actually plus 1 overall, but about 1.5 points worse when he's off the court, which is interesting. Small gap. I don't think it tells the whole story. Now, Nikola Jokic, just so people know, in 782 minutes, the Nuggets have a 123.1 offensive rating, a 112.7 defensive rating. That's a positive net rating of 10.4. When Nikola Jokic is on the bench in 380 minutes, the Denver Nuggets have a 96.3 offensive rating. They have a 111.4 defensive rating. That is a negative 15.1 rating. That is a flop of 25.5 points.
And that's a great analytical perspective. I do appreciate that. I actually do. The only issue is winning matters, right? And if you ain't winning, it just don't matter, bro. That's the criteria that was set last year. So how about let's stay consistent with that?
Yes.
Well,
25 point.
I don't know if Calvin Booth's going to win
actually.
Executive of the Year.
Maybe not.
Well,
but that just shows you what we're talking about here from that number.
Okay, so if you're trying to win the MVP and you're not from one of the top 3 or 4 teams, you have to have a compelling set of circumstances. In other words, a very high bar, especially if your narrative is a little bit messy because he's won 3 and their team appears to be on the decline.
You know, we say this, but here he is, number one in
That's
the.
what I'm saying. So I'm saying the bar, based on historically and the competition, the bar for Jokic is outrageously high. And I would almost, and I said before the season, I think the bar is going to be so high that he can't clear it.
Right.
I think that he's being this impressive.
Look, there's one guy ever that's won 4 out of 5.
Let him get his point out.
James.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, listen, Jokic is absolutely an all.
I was waiting for Brian to actually get to his point. I think he was going to get to a good point, but
Time great. That has been
and
established.
he won one title in there, by the way. When he won his 4th MVP.
Actually, I take that back. There's 2. It's LeBron and Bill Russell. I forgot about Bill
Pretty
Russell.
good company.
Bill Russell did it back in the 60s.
all right, I can only listen to these guys that much. So basically that was their justification for it, right? Here's a straw poll once again. Jokic first, Shea second, Giannis third, Jason Tatum fourth, Luka fifth. Okay. Now let's go to this video, ladies and gentlemen. Salute to the homie Kirk Henderson of Pod Maverick. Does great content for the Dallas Mavericks. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have heard of him. Just a great overall guy, man. He showed up to the Mavs Twitter tournament, and it's been great. It's been great being able to say I have a cool relationship with him, share DMs, gives me insight into things on how to approach content, whatever the case may be. It's really cool. So salute to Kirk Henderson. But he had Tim Bontemps on here last year, and Tim Bontemps has some really particular things, really interesting things to say about Luka Doncic's MVP odds. So let's take a hear. Let's take a listen. What am I talking about?
I think that's the case. Just like I think this year, because I saw a question here somewhere saying, why did I say months ago I didn't think Luka was going to win? I didn't think Luka was going to win, not because of anything to do with Luka, but if he was coming off the run they had 2 years ago into this season, he would have had a lot more momentum early on, and he wouldn't have had to make up quite as much ground.
Well, so you needed momentum from a previous season to be able to credit the current season. Because in this video, they basically said that they were making up Jokic's MVP last year for giving it to Embiid the previous year, right? So this is what they're saying. You become MVP based on the previous season, right? So this season, this current season, Luka should be MVP based on the previous season. But as you saw in those previous videos, they are now changing that narrative for it to be Jokic once again. Right now, as Jokic got a bad team, Jokic gonna exceed his own standard. Jokic, can he clear it? Can Jokic clear his own, standard? And if he does a 30-point triple-double and he's a 5th seed, that might be enough to clear it. That's the new hurdle for Jokic. Can you keep your team at the 5th seed, averaging a triple-double? Let's listen a little more.
Ultimately,
I'm rather surprised that wasn't more of the narrative. I mean, he didn't want to sit that the Mavericks didn't make the playoffs. I mean, he didn't want to sit. I think.
Yeah,
I think.
Well, and I don't mean.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to say I don't necessarily think a lot of people per se blamed Luka. I'm not saying it was Luka's fault, right? But the Mavericks had a very disappointing end of last season, and that kind of stuff just sort of naturally carries over into these kind of discussions. Whereas, look. I think Dallas is going to win this first round series. If Dallas makes the conference finals this year or has a great 7-game series with the Thunder, presumably in the second round, I think Luka's going to go into next season as the favorite to win MVP because he's sort of the next guy up to win. I think he's going to finish second in the MVP voting. I voted for him second. And I think he's got a great chance to win the award. And it's going to all be set up for him to have a big year, for Dallas to be really good, and for him to win MVP. And that's sort of how this stuff goes. You see people finish second. James Harden, right? He finished second.
So because you've hold on, man. Let me just listen a little more.
A couple times, was close. Houston had good years, and then he broke through and won. Joel Embiid finished second a couple times, close ballots, broke through and won. I think,
So when did Jokic ever break through, right? Because when he won his first MVP as a 6th seed, that's not considered a breakthrough, is it? It's not. It's just funny, man. It's funny, man. This entire narrative is funny, and it's really it's really taken away from the experience for me as a fan, because like I have to sit here and listen to people that are on ESPN tell me about who's MVP when they're not considering everything, and they only consider everything for specific players that they would like to be MVP, like Jokic. And I think Jokic deserves some of those MVPs for sure. But I thought Luka deserved it in 22. And that's subjective, right? That could be debated. But I think the one you cannot debate was last year. I think Luka should have won it last year. Jokic shouldn't have not came anywhere near close taking that from Luka. And he sure as hell did. Even Jokic himself said Luka was MVP. So I just don't know what it is. Let's continue listening. There's more stuff to this.
Jokic finished second. I think he was fourth. He didn't quite have the same thing because Denver sort of exploded the first year. Or he exploded and then Embiid got hurt. But I do think this sets up for this to be a battle between probably Luka and Shea next year. And I think Luka would be in front to win an MVP award. And I'll be pretty stunned if sometime in the next 2 to 3 years that Luka doesn't win one. Maybe multiple.
Well, and that's what Matt Moore has also told me, at least in terms of preseason betting. And you sort of mentioned this to me when we were chatting prior, is what voters want, really what betting public wants too, is the betting public very much wants Luka to win the MVP. That's why he's been the preseason MVP favorite for 3 straight years. Yep. So there's a lot of people that think he could be MVP playing the right way. And with this, the Jokic conversation, I'm going to drive my Mavs fan.
You know what's crazy? Now when I think of it, like when you think of it, like do you think Tim Bontemps, knowing that there's so much money on the line for Luka to win MVP, that never mind. I don't even know if I want to say this. I would just say, imagine if you had so much power, right, to influence a vote, and you knew that this player was the favorite to win it every single year, but you saw you had better odds with this player, and say you had all the influence in the world to favor that player that had worse odds, to actually get you bigger winnings, right? Because if you're the favorite, you can only win so much, right? Like a plus 400, $100 only gets you 400. But if someone's a plus 1,200 and say that's Jokic, you're like, I could put in $100 right now, or let's say I could put $2,000 right now on that bet, and then throughout the season, I just find a way to make Jokic MVP. Now, I'm not saying this is what's happening, but I'm just saying things have influence, bro. And it's not say that Tim Bontemps is doing this. It's to say that there's bigger pockets out there that look at it from this perspective. If you don't think there's some underlining real crazy stuff like this, like there's some really dark stuff out there. And there's big pockets and large wells that have so much influence and money to probably influence people that have big platforms to say certain things that influence the one guy they want to win versus Luka. There's only so much money you could win on a preseason bet with Luka, as opposed to say a Jokic or even a Giannis or a Shea or whatever, right? You want to maximize your winnings. So as a large well, like, hey, how can I get in contact with Tim Bontemps? Hey, can you just find a way to influence a Jokic vote? I'm not saying that this is what's happening, but I wouldn't put it past the NBA and ESPN that this is happening. I wouldn't put it past them, allegedly, or just, yeah. Anyway, let's continue.
It's crazy with this, but like Jokic is in the middle of a 4-year run that we're going to look back on and go, what in the hell did we watch?
I mean, that's the other thing here. Like, and just to clarify, because somebody asked in there that the Luka didn't start slowly. I meant that Dallas was in the play-in mix. It's just very hard to win MVP if your team is in the play-in mix. Doesn't mean it's
got to
possible.
punch out. We saw this with Dirk's MVP year. They played at one point in 2007. They went 52-4. So you do that, and you're just going to lead. And the Mavericks started out 8-2, and then they played 500 basketball for 40 games. That's what happened.
Yes. and they were mired in the play-in mix, and it was like, well, are they going to actually like, you know, that was where my comment came from earlier in the year. Like he was playing great, but Dallas was going to have to make a big run, and look, Dallas did make a big run, which is why he went from being fourth to being second. But
like y'all saw the previous video, right? Y'all see just the change. It's funny.
But we're also talking about, like, Nikola Jokic is in the middle of an unbelievable run. He's coming off of a fantastic playoffs. Like, it's not a shame to lose the MVP to Nikola Jokic.
Oh.
Like that's where this whole discussion sort of gets fraught for me in general. Not like this one, but the MVP discussion in general. Because, like, Shea is a worthy MVP this year. Luka's a worthy MVP this year. Jokic is a worthy MVP this year. You could argue Giannis is a worthy MVP this year, though he's going to pretty clearly finish fourth. Like, those guys all had unbelievable seasons. So it's not like one guy deserves it and one guy doesn't. But at some point, you have to pick somebody.
Yeah.
And so Jokic is probably going to win by a small amount. But
Well, there I have it. There I leave it. You know, I just wanted to say that last year the standard was set at, and the criteria was set at winning games. And unfortunately, it looks like this year it doesn't matter. It just matters if you're putting up bonker numbers, right? It is what it is, man. But yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Let me know if you have any controversial takes, or if you alleging any controversy. Let me know what you think about all this stuff, and why Tim Bontemps and Mr. Sylvester have so much control over the MVP in the NBA, man. I think it's a shame, man. I really do. And I actually think right now Giannis should be number one. Anyway, man, it's been your boy TGK. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Appreciate y'all watching. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Definitely leave a like on the video. Definitely drop a comment. Subscribe. Consider becoming a member. It's been your boy TGK. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. We out.